If you're unwilling to do this first step, the video's over. Hey, Dr. Duc Vuong here. I'm a world famous weight loss surgeon, newly retired. I'm the author of 13 books and over 400 videos on YouTube. I love the weight loss surgery community. I love wealth and fitness and wellness and everything, just having a fabulous, wonderful life. Today, we're going to talk about stopping weight regain. This is a super important topic for the weight loss surgery community that we have not been talking about. So, I have a question for you, right? If your surgeon had told you that if you have weight loss surgery, that 30 to 50% of people do not lose enough weight or regain their weight, what would you say? If your surgeon had told you you had a 30 to 50% failure rate, would you go on with the surgery? Or would you have been like, maybe I'll try the diet and exercise one more time? Now, studies have shown that weight loss surgery is the best option we have for long-term weight loss. And now that's important. We emphasize long-term because all of y'all watching have lost weight at some point. Is that true? Come on, give me some amens if that's true. Even without weight loss surgery, you went on a diet and you lost it. Problem is, did you keep it off? That's the question, right? And so weight loss surgery has become the best tool we have so far to keep the weight off long term. But there is a percentage of people that don't lose enough weight or have weight regain. I'm going to talk about that right now. Okay? So let's say this is a graft. This is your weight, and this is time. And this is, let's say, surgery date. A lot of people say your birthday, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And we can always take it out to 5 years. And let's say a normal BMI. You want to know what a normal BMI is? That's right. BMI, we'll call this your BMI of 25. My BMI is about 22, all right? 21, 22. So that's why I'm the skinny Asian. You know, what can I say? But our goal is to get you down to BMI of 25, and let's say when you started, your BMI was 42. I'm just making up that number. It's about an average number. Of course, there are people with BMIs that are 60 and 70 and 80 that have to have weight loss surgery, but for the average person, it's about 42. A BMI of 40 is about 100 pounds overweight, okay? So, now what happens? You have weight loss surgery, and you start losing weight, hopefully. Now, some people don't, but the first year is usually very traumatic. Isn't that true? The first year, boy, you're really dropping weight really fast. For a lot of people, and sometimes we call that the honeymoon period. Now, by year 2, it seems to kind of leveled off, right? Maybe not as fast. Amen. Comment if that's been your case. And then sometimes around year 3, there's a little bit of weight regain. Okay? And sometimes usually it plateaus. That's the average. So this is we're going to call this average, all right? The average. Now, are there people that like, woo? Sure, there are people like that. Are there people that are like, take a long time to get to average? Yes. Are there people that go, woo, and then say, I got this, Dr. V, and then, oh shit. Regain all their weight back and more? Yep, but there are people like that too. But on average, your curve is going to go down like this your first year, and around the 2.5, 3 year mark, you'll have a bump back up, and then you'll plateau off. Now, there are a couple things I want to point out about this. Okay, let's say your BMI is 25. Check this out. What? The average weight loss surgery patient do not make it down to a BMI of 25. That's the first thing you need to know. So if you're close to a BMI of 25 or you're less than a BMI of 25, give yourself a round of applause because you are a superstar. Okay? Because the average weight loss surgery patient never makes it down to a BMI of 25. That's the first thing you need to understand about weight regain. Because some people are beating themselves up. Let's say they got down to BMI of 23 and now they're back up to BMI of 26. You know, way down here. They got way down here and now they regained a little bit of weight and they're beating themselves up. And they don't understand, look, dude, like you're doing much better than average, right? And then some people get down to here and regain the weight. They're beating themselves up. And I'm here to say, dude, calm down. This is an average weight. That's expected. The big problem is people who don't get down to the average line or who regain a bunch of their weight. And that's really frightening, okay? That's a whole different subset. That's much smaller. But I will tell you that the studies show we about 30%, and I want to say this correctly because you're not a weight loss surgery failure. I just want you to understand that. 30% of patients don't lose adequate weight loss. It's not that they haven't lost weight, it's that they don't lose enough or to get down to a normal BMI or that they regain the weight, right? So that's about 30%. If your BMI is over 50 when you're starting your surgery, we think that that number could be as high as 50% inadequate weight loss. That's a lot. 50% inadequate weight loss. So I've always tried to get my patients to have a BMI below 50. Now, why is this important? It's because when you see people post stuff on Facebook and they're 450 pounds and they've lost 150 pounds and they're like, look at me, I've lost 150 pounds. Way to go. It's been a year and I'm still going. Dude, that's my tip number one. Don't get cocky, right? Don't get cocky. I get it. You lost 150 pounds. That's more than Dr. V. But if you start at 450 and you lost 150, now you're still 300 pounds. You're still overweight. You're still morbidly obese. Especially if you need to get down to 150 pounds. You got a long ways to go. Don't get cocky, right? There are people who have to lose 300 pounds, okay? Don't get cocky. And that's for everybody. And especially for people way down here. Hey, listen, don't get cocky down here. Amen? Don't get cocky down there because it could always go back up. Could always go back up, right? So the first thing I'm going to tell you is don't beat yourself up. You're doing all right. Don't get if you're doing better than average, don't get cocky. You know, it's always work and maintain, right? That's the first tip. What do you think? Excellent, excellent. You ready to get to work? Now that you know that the risk of weight regain and what's average, you ready to get to work? Are you ready to fix this or what? Are you ready to make sure you're not one of the ones that regain all their weight back? Do you want to, are you ready to make sure you stop it at 20 pounds of weight regain and now start losing it again? Because the end, remember that drawing, was they stayed at that weight regain weight. Very few patients lose that weight regain. Woo! Okay, so you ready to get to work? Now, the first tip you're not going to like very much. Here's what you need to do right now. Go to your kitchen, and you all know the answer. Get rid of the junk. Get rid of the junk. Get rid of the junk. Okay? If you're unwilling to do this first step, video's over. Facebook Live is over. It's done. Video's over. There's nothing else for me to tell you. Okay? I'll give you an example. Now, some people are going to say, oh, I'd like to, but what do I do about my cravings? What do I do about, I'm a carb addict, I'm a chocoholic. I get it. We're going to talk about that in the third tip, all right? All your reasons. But stick with me here for a second. You got to get rid of your junk. If you're unwilling to do that, this video is over. I cannot help you. No surgeon can help you. I'll give you an example. And we all have this friend. And I'll use an example of this one particular example. Let's say, for example, I go, I have this headache, right? I'm sitting there. Imagine this is a hammer. And I'm hitting myself on the head with a hammer. And I go, I got this terrible headache, and I don't know why. I'm not hitting my head very hard, just a little bit softly, but I just keep hitting it. And I go, I have a headache, I don't know why. And you go, why don't you stop hitting yourself in the head with the hammer? And the responses vary, like, oh, what? I'm hitting myself in the head with a hammer? I didn't even know I was. Or some people might go, well, you know, it's the only thing I know how to do to get rid of the stress. Yeah? Or, well, you would, if you knew what I've been through, you'd hit yourself in the head with a hammer too. And you're sitting there listening going, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. You have a headache, you know what's causing it, let's stop, right? So, the first tip you got to do is get rid of all the junk in your house. How it got there is not an issue right now. All the reasons that you think you deserve it, we'll talk about it here in a second. But my free PDF here goes through the 5 things you got to stop doing, all right? And reasons why. You got to stop soda. You got to stop alcohol. This is a big problem for the weight loss surgery community's alcohol. Snacking. You got to stop snacking, which is fucked up. And the reason why it's messed up is because a lot of your programs are telling you to snack, to eat a healthy snack. Like, how can you tell an obese person to eat a healthy snack? That's like telling an alcoholic to drink a little mini drink. Oh, it's just 1 shot. Or saying, hey, it's just a glass of red wine. And research says red wine is healthy for you, so just have a glass. You would never say that to an alcoholic. Why would you say that to someone who's morbidly obese, struggling with their weight all the time? Now, that's not true for everybody, but the vast majority of people, it's totally true. Totally true, okay? Stop bread, stop condiments, okay? So 5 things to stop doing. The first thing you got to stop doing is stop the junk. I mean, get rid of it. Go get rid of it, okay? At the end of this broadcast, I really want you to go to your kitchen for whatever reason and just dump it all. Just everything, every junk, chocolate, candies, whatever. The most drastic thing is to throw it away. You can also, if you feel bad about wasting the food, I get it, just put it into a grocery bag and get in your car and give it to the next homeless person you see. Or go to your neighbor, knock on the door and give them all that stuff. Just get rid of it. Or donate it to your food pantry the next day. You know, I don't know, but you got to get rid of it. Cool? If you're unwilling to get rid of it, then nobody's going to be able to help you, right? If you are unwilling, not unable, you are unwilling to get rid of it, then I can't help you, and nobody can help you. Okay? All right. Now that you have gotten rid of all the junk, for whatever reason, and we're going to talk about your reasons here at the last time, okay? But after you gotten rid of all of the junk, tip number 2, I want you to start telling yourself this. You are more powerful than food. This is really, really important, okay? And it's not psychobabble, and it's not new agey stuff that I'm telling you this. This comes from a lot of science, okay? If you believe that, imagine this, if every single day you have to eat 2-3 times a day, and you feel like you cannot make good food choices, or that you feel like you overeat, or that you're bearing your emotions, or you don't feel good about yourself, whatever the reason is, but you're doing that 2 or 3 times a day, and it's never a big thing. It's never like, we want to make it sound like obesity is this huge thing, and it's not. It's not like, it's not one big incident, okay? It's not one huge binge fest that got you fat. It is this little, every single day kind of feeling bad about yourself, or not paying attention, or being bored. Whatever it is that you did, it reinforced it, if that makes sense. It reinforced that belief. So then what happens is you've developed a false belief about yourself, about your relationship with food. Whatever that relationship is, it's false. I'm a chocoholic. I love salty foods. I love crunchy foods. I've heard it all. Trust me, I like greasy foods, I like fatty foods, I liked all foods. See, it's all a false belief because you don't like all foods. Think about that. You don't like everything that's salty. Trust me, I can find some salty shit you don't like. You don't like everything that's sweet. And then what happens is when you get challenged on this belief, you start finding squirming little things. Oh, I like everything salty except for pickle juice, right? Or, I like everything chocolatey, or, I don't like anything sweet except for Belgian chocolates. I mean, you start justifying this false belief, and it lulls you. It lulls you into this, okay? And what I want to talk about here and why this is important, you are more powerful than food. This whole reinforcement is what Darren Hardy, he's the founder, he was the publisher of Success Magazine. In his book, it's called The Compound Effect. And I want to talk about obesity in terms of the compound effect and your weight regain, okay? So basically the compound effect is this idea that small actions performed regularly over a long period of time is going to get you that result, okay? So small actions, this is actually quite true. If all you did was 10 push-ups a day every day and you did it for a year, you'd actually have better results than somebody who went to the gym for an hour a day or 2 hours a day and stopped it after a month. But here's the idea: small actions times consistently times long period over time equals your result, your success. And I'm not even going to say your success, I'll say result, because when you're talking about obesity, no one got fat overnight. Even if you were one of the unfortunate ones that has been overweight your whole life, or overweight since you were a little kid, or overweight since you were a teenager, it still took years, right? It still took years. And we want to, like, we see shows like 600 Pound Life or stuff like that, and we think that it's about like gorging yourself all the time, or being like really really psychosocially abused or disturbed. But reality is that's not true. For the vast amount of people who had weight loss surgery, it was just one bite too much for a long time. It was like a scoop of ice cream 2 or 3 times a night, or it was drinking on weekends, and it just got worse and worse and worse. Does that make sense? Small actions consistently over a long period of time is what we call the compound effect. And for most people, that's what's happened with obesity. Now, the reason why we're talking more about it is because these small actions are increasing in frequency, yes? Because it used to be, ice cream treat was like one Sunday, or, every now and then. Now you can have ice cream sundaes every night if you want, anytime you want. And they're not small actions anymore, because it used to be a scoop of ice cream was this big. Now you get a scoop of ice cream that's this big. A slice of pizza when I was a little kid was this big. Now a slice of pizza is this big. So these small actions are not small anymore, and they're not so small. Okay? And then we have it all the time. We have junk food around every corner. We have vending machines. We have Grubhub. We have Uber Eats. I was just snowed in on New Year's Day, and I didn't know how I was going to get food. Thank God I called. They have Uber Eats, and I was able to order food. But you can get food all the time. And there are no restaurants that don't close. There are fast food places that are open 24/7. So it's constantly, and you have to eat all the time. There's not, if you want to die, you'll stop eating, but we have to eat. So when it comes to obesity, this is like a terrible formula. It's like a perfect storm. You have to eat in order to stay alive, and things are getting consistently worse and worse. So now we're seeing a huge climb in obesity. It's really just that simple. But when you combine it with this false belief, here's what I want you to understand. You have some sort of incident that says, you know, I'm stressed out, my boss was mean to me. I took a poll and I asked people, like, why do you think you regained the weight? I got all sorts of reasons, right? There were a lot of divorces. A lot of people got divorced, a lot of financial stuff, a lot of moms and dads dying and car wrecks and things like that. But there were also small stuff, like my boss was mean to me. My boyfriend broke up with me. You know, my marriage broke up, all sorts of stuff. So what happens is you have this false belief, like you're a stress eater, you're an emotional eater. This is my favorite chocolate. Well, if you combine this is my favorite chocolate with a stressor that's around all the time, like you don't like going to your job, ta-da! You do that for 2 or 3 years, 10 pounds a year, and next thing you know, you're 100 pounds overweight. If your BMI is 40 or 50, you qualify for weight loss surgery almost. Okay? So, the compound effect. Okay? Now, let's put this in reverse. Weight regain. You guys got all excited because you had weight loss surgery, or if you didn't have weight loss surgery, you were dieting, losing weight, going to the gym, all sorts of stuff. And it doesn't matter if you diet for 6 months or you go to the gym for 6 months, eventually you're going to stop. And it's no different with weight loss surgery. I mean, congratulations, you did all the stuff. You did the psych eval, you did all the lab work, you got put to sleep, you were cut, and you had your intestines rerouted or your stomach removed, you had sleep surgery, whatever, and you were committed for those first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. You were committed. You could only take 2 or 3 bites and you got that pressure and you're like, oh, I love my baby sleeve. You could only take 3 bites, you're like, love my bypass. And maybe that feeling lasted for 9 months, a year, 2 years. I got people 3 years, 4 years out, still just not very hungry. Don't eat very much, right? But eventually, what happens around that 2-year, 3-year mark that we graphed out, on average, what happens is small actions, right? Hey, I'm going to take 1 more bite. It's just that, oh, that hurt. Oh, I wish I hadn't taken that 1 bite. Or, man, I am really stressed out. I really deserve this glass of wine, right? Or we got nothing to drink. Oh, there's Diet Coke. Well, your husband goes, well, it's here. I bought your favorite Diet Coke. It's diet. It's got 0 calories. Why not drink it? Because Diet Coke leads to sweet tooth, which leads to candies and junk and cravings and dehydration, right? Because it, dehydrates you, got a bunch of chemicals in you. So, but it's not like you sat there and you just downed a 2-liter bottle of Coke like you used to, is my point. It was maybe just 1 little sip or 2 sips. Now, the problem is you have to decide who you are, right? Like, I don't like sodas much. Like, I can drink 2 sips of soda and be good for 6 months and just never really have another soda. Now, you put me around fried chicken, shit, the whole bucket will be gone, right? But you have to know who you are. Now, I'm not a huge sweet eater, although if I keep eating sweets, I find myself eating more and more desserts. And at this point, I got to stop. I mean, there's a reason why every New Year's, every January 2nd for the last 3 or 4 years, I go on a no alcohol, no coffee thing, because during the holidays, with all the Christmas parties and all this stuff, I drink way too much alcohol and I drink way too much coffee to get me going the next morning. So I just know myself, right? So you have to know yourself. The first thing with this weight regain thing is you have to understand that your 20 pounds that you've gained didn't happen over 1 meal. Chances are it happened over 12 months. True? comment below. What was your weight regain like? And what was your weight regain like? And you will see that you didn't wake up one day and suddenly you were 15 pounds regained. You have been snacking the whole time, all since the summer, right? You've been unhappy at work since Easter. Small actions consistently over a long period, all right? Super important, the compound effect. But this goes back to this. You are more powerful than food. What you think about your relationship with food is a false belief that has been reinforced through a long period of taking very small actions. And you can reverse that. You can reverse that. And how do you do that? You got to start saying things like this. I am more powerful than food. I am more powerful than food. Okay? Sound good? All right, you guys ready for the last tip? Tip number 3 on how you stop weight regain. Now this one's important because it goes to all your reasons. Okay? Your reasons. Now when I asked about weight regain, why did you regain the weight? I got all sorts of reasons, yeah? I went through a divorce. I lost my job. My mom got sick. I was in a car wreck. Lots of problems like that. I got into a car wreck. Now this thing's gonna be this is gonna be hard for a lot of people to hear, but hear me out, all right? Super important if you want to stop your weight regain. Now, your reasons are what? Blank. Fill in the blank. What do you think I'm gonna say? Your reasons are what? See how well you know Dr. V. Excuses? What do you think? Lies? Myths? All your reasons. They're valid. Psyched you out, didn't I? All your reasons, all of them, all of your reasons are valid. You're right. You had a car wreck. You hurt your back. You sat around and ate a bunch of food. Yep, you did that. That's a valid reason. Your mom got cancer. I get it. My dad got cancer at 65. He died. Valid reasons. You know, your son got hooked on drugs. Valid. Your boss is a jerk. Valid. Now, why is this important? It's because if you listen to other gurus, these other gym heads, these other people who are going to tell you hit the gym, they're all telling you what? No excuses, man! No excuses! All your reasons are excuses. Quit being like a pussy. Quit being a wimp. I'm telling you the opposite. All your reasons are valid. Because it's true. Because it happened to you. Right? Now, Louise Hay said something very powerful, and it really changed my life. So I'd like to share it with you, Louise Hay. She said, we're never right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. You're never wrong. People are only doing the best that they can with what they know. So you're only doing the best you know. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that is powerful. My patients who first come to see me only did the best that they knew how. You're only doing the best you know how. Your weight regain is the best you know how to handle, to deal with, to cope with. And instead of like getting angry and berating people, I switched my stance. And I thought, no, you're valid. Your reasons are valid. You lost your job, you couldn't afford healthy foods, you couldn't complete your insurance requirements, you didn't have a babysitter. Those are all valid reasons because it's the best you know. And then I started thinking, well, what if the weight regain is because the surgeons aren't teaching people what the right things to do. Think about that. Maybe, remember that curve? The weight loss never gets down to BMI of 25 because we didn't teach patients the proper ways to think and act and the proper things to eat. Right? You all should be having green smoothies for breakfast and salads and fruits and veggies, not premier protein shakes. But most programs tell patients to eat protein shakes. That's just wrong. So maybe the average patient doesn't get down to BMI of 25, not because of them, but because of what we're telling them. Which then made me think that maybe the reason why people are regaining weight is because we're not telling them the right things to do. Coping skills, etc., right? So, I want you to understand that I believe that your reasons are valid, but I'm going to bitch slap you the other way real quick. Pity is a drug. Now, while I love you and I know that your reasons are valid, I'm going to tell you all this pity that you're seeking because you regained the weight because it didn't work for you because boo-hoo, it's a drug. You're addicted to this shit. And with social media, Facebook and Instagram, it is so easy to go on social media right now and air your grievances and tell the world how you've been wronged. And we get addicted to it. I do too. I get upset when I post something and it only gets like 10 likes. and no one shared it and no one commented. See, it's a drug. I get addicted to it too. But what happens is when you combine that second tip, that false belief, you start attracting these other people who are like, yeah, I have the same problem. Yeah, my doctor didn't tell me what to do either. Yeah, my husband cheated on me too. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And it becomes a drug. And you just post more and more about it. And you want to tell people. And it gets worse and worse. Like, so when people stop, you post about how bad things have been to you, and fewer people to respond to it, you get addicted, and now you're like, I need a bigger hit. So now I'm going to start telling people, oh my gosh, I'm on antidepressants. Or my husband left me because he was gay. Before you wouldn't say that stuff, but now you need this reaction. And then it's worse because then we get into these little secret groups, these closed groups, because somehow like we're special and we don't want people to know our business. Well, then why are you on Facebook in a group? Airing it to strangers. Well, because it's supposed to be people that only have had weight loss surgery. No. Anybody can say they had weight loss surgery and get sent into a group. It's a drug, man. Your pity is a drug. So all your reasons, while they're valid, you gotta let them go. Right? Let them go. And when you start letting go, that's when you can start change. You know, it's this saying that you can't climb the next ladder without letting go, right? Of that rung. To climb the ladder, you got to let go to go up, right? And it doesn't matter if it's financial success, emotional success, spiritual success, weight loss success. You got to let go of what you know and go and reach. Let go of those reasons so you can reach. And I get it. When you're up in the air on a ladder and you're holding onto a rung, it's really comforting. It's really comfortable. You don't want to let go. It's scary to let go. Because all those reasons are what got you so much attention. Because if you could say, hey man, you don't understand how mean this person was to me. I deserve this dessert or this pie or this chocolate or whatever, or I deserve to lay on the couch all day long, right? So what happens is there's a feedback loop. That's what makes it addictive. That's the same thing as a drug. You get a high on it, and then when the drug gets out of your system, it drops you down, so you need another hit. Get high again, it goes away. You post something negative on Facebook, people say, oh, poor you, you get a high on it, and then the Facebook feed changes, and no one's commenting anymore because no one sees your posts. Then you gotta re-hit another again and again and again. And I'm calling out the weight loss surgery community because what we have seen, what I have seen, and you guys are seeing it, is that the weight loss surgery community has gotten into a bad cycle where you're just perpetuating the same shit over and over again. The bad information, you know, chicken McNuggets with cheese sauce, right? Premier protein shakes. Go to the gym. Let me tell you, man, going to the gym is not good for weight loss. But everybody who wants to defend their position about weight regain will say something like this. Dr. Vuong, I'm back on it. I'm back on my protein shakes and I'm going to start going to the gym again. Like, dude, the gym is not good for weight loss. I get it. The gym is good for fitness and cardiovascular health and maybe some stress relief. But it is not good for weight loss. Because all of them go back and go, I don't understand why I gained 10 pounds. Because we are passing on bad information. And we got to stop it. The best thing you can do when someone sits there and, you know, repeat it, says, hey, you know, this bad thing happened to me and I really want to eat. It's like, well, don't do it. And then they post again. Don't do it. And they post again. Eventually you have to, like, set them straight. Be like, dude, nothing's going to change if you don't change. Okay? Now, the last thing I'm going to say is this. Because it's New Year's. But it can be any time of the year. But it just happens to be New Year's. And a lot of people are going to make resolutions. And there's no difference between this New Year's resolution or in April when you decide to have weight loss surgery, or in May when you decide to get back on track. Whatever it is, we're going to make these quote-unquote resolutions. But here's the problem with New Year's resolutions or any resolutions. Just because you say it, they are not decisions. So a resolution is not a decision. They're not. Because you're going to stop the gym here in a couple of weeks. You're going to get off track with your green smoothies and salads. You know, the whole, we have a 365 days. It's a whole new book. It's a whole new chapter of our lives, and we can do this. And oh my God, this drives me crazy. 2019 is going to be my year. Well, what fucking happened in 2018? What about 2017? Why'd you gain 20 pounds in 2017? Why'd you drop out of college in 2010? No one starts off the year going, 2019 is going to suck. This year is going to be awful. But there's really no difference between January 1st and July 1st or October 1st. Except for this, the decision. At any moment, you can decide. And I will leave you with that one last tip. Bonus tip number 4. At any moment, you are one decision away from changing your life. Hear me now. At any moment, you are one decision away from changing your life. You can decide to take my advice, go to your kitchen, get rid of all your junk. You can decide to reread my books. You can decide to go back and watch my videos. You can decide to go grocery shopping, start eating right again. You can decide to tell yourself that you're stronger and more powerful than food. You can decide to look up Louise Hay on YouTube. You can decide to make your health and wellness a priority in your life. Because if you don't decide, not deciding is also a decision. Not choosing is also a decision. Remember that. Also remember that I love you and I'm always here to support you. Thank you guys very much for your love and your support and for watching me. I love you very much.